Mr Blobby, a British institution conceived in an especially bizarre corner of hell. While he would eventually become a children's TV character, he started out in 1992 as a fake mascot for TV presenter Noel Edmonds to wear when pranking celebrities for a segment in his British chat show, Noel's House Party. The character is basically a big pink yellow spotted knobhead. His shtick is that he just rocks up and starts causing all manner of chaos, and he screams his name like he's a Pokemon. He also does an awful lot of sitting on people. I really hate him. I hate him a lot.
Otherwise accidents can happen. Oh, mind your fingers. I said don't move.
He got a couple of VHS specials but didn't ever actually get a dedicated TV series, thank God. All the same, if you're British and over the age of 25, you know exactly who he is because for a while during the 90s, he was absolutely f***ing everywhere. He mostly appeared on said Noel's House Party, which is a cringy pantomime-style show that's very much a product of its time. Lots of guffawing at terrible jokes and slapstick comedy. I remember liking it as a child because, you know, I was a child. And to be fair, sometimes Blobby's segments are so silly they go right back round from being stupid to being quite funny, in a brainless Mrs. Brown's Boys kind of way. Not that the latter is especially funny. Soon after his initial appearances on the BBC, which for my viewers who aren't in Britain means British Broadcasting Corporation, not a particular Pornhub filter, Blobby popped up all over the place, enjoying cameos across a host of BBC programmes doing weird stuff like appearing in a Shakespeare's Sister video, appearing at Hyacinth Bouquet's home and molesting the Royal Dalton with hand-painted periwinkles, and jumping on Mr Motivator on morning show GMTV. Personally, the morning is the worst time for me to be jumped on by a massive pink man. I tend to leave that till the afternoon when I'm a bit more awake and drunk. Also, Mr Blobby had 2 hit singles. Yeah, his Christmas-released Mr Blobby actually smashed into the top of the UK singles chart in 1993, because that was around the time that God chose to forsake us, hilariously pushing Meat Loaf's I'll Do Anything for Love off the #1 slot on the 11th of December, and then losing at the top slot to Take That Babe, only to reclaim it for the Christmas #1. Absolute scenes. Poor Gary Barlow. Well, he's not poor, he's f***ing minted, but you get the point. Then, in 1995, Christmas in Blobbyland wandered in at about number 36, and yeah, there was an album released in 1994. I've listened to all of it. Yeah, it's on YouTube if you want to find it. If you're depressed like I am, I can recommend it as a non-destructive form of self-harm. Disclaimer, that's a joke. I don't actually advocate self-harm as a form of dealing with depression. If you're in too much of a fragile mental state to listen to it, let me tell you that the tracks include Old McBlobby Had a Farm, Blobby Blobby Blob, which mostly consists of fart noises, Swan Lake performed with more of the same, and 10 Pink Blobbies, which is just the Bottles on the Wall song with yet more flatulent noises. Am I the only one who's gone through my entire life thinking that Blobby sounds like something to do with uterine lining? Yeah, I know, it's gross, but when you listen to the album, it sounds like a musical version of a period. It does. Yeah, even as a kid, I did not understand the hype around Mr Blobby. He's just obnoxious and stupid and not funny. It's one of those British things where it's made out that everyone loves him, but you will literally never find a British person who doesn't hate him. I, for example, really do hate him. That is partly because I'm a British person of a certain age, but it's also because I'm a miserable bastard anyway. Today there's a whole video game industry around film and TV tie-ins, one that's been going on for decades. Let's face it, if EastEnders could get its own video game, Mr Blobby is gonna get his. If you haven't watched my ZX Spectrum EastEnders video, totally go and watch it after this one please. Make my suffering monetizable. I have bills to pay and a lot of it is for therapy. That's not even a joke out of character, I seriously do spend a lot of money on therapy. Yeah, in 1994 some marketing bastard saw the hype around Blobby and thought, you know what, kids love Blobby, let's make a video game about him, except we won't actually make it because that requires time and money and a modicum of effort, so let's just reskin another game and absolutely slap it out onto the computer. Whoa, holy shit. Alright, come on, let's go to the strip club. Look at that tagline. Blobby, blobby, blobby. Oh, good. Great. We're doing stupid noises for taglines, are we? How descriptive. Honestly, what a self-obsessed pink bastard this lad is. Loves the sound of his own name. And oh look, he's managed to breed, and I can't even get a text back. Yeah, so canonically, Mr. Blobby met Mrs. Blobby on a dating show. And then they had sex and had a baby. And yeah, I honestly did research whether or not they canonically physically had intercourse or whether the baby was brought to them by a stork. This is what I'm doing with my life, working out whether TV mascots are fucked or not. And then people ask me why I'm mentally unwell. In this Mr. Blobby craft book, I think I found my answer. On this page, Mr. Blobby has accidentally sent the wrong Xmas presents to his dad, mum and wife. Looks like mum got the wrong gift. A set of Mr. Blobby lingerie, presumably for his wife. Yeah, a kid's book shows me that Mr. Blobby gets his wife underwear for fucking. Once again, why the shit can't I get a text back? I think we'd better get on with this before I'm put off sex for the rest of my life. Not much of a descriptive intro in this one. We're shown Mr. and Mrs. Blobby's house, which is frankly an eyesore. No idea where this house is, but if they don't get passive-aggressive notes through their door from the neighbours, I'll be very surprised. Mr. Blobby bumps into his child's stroller, sending the baby flying. Then the mother of said baby wets herself laughing at the fact her soft-schooled offspring may have just sustained life-altering injuries. Hello, yes, social services. Oh, hang on a minute, my son's being a dickhead. Oh, get out of there, you little emo. Anyway, that's an electric oven, not a gas one. You can't kill yourself with it. I've tried. Don't think I was really expecting Mr. and Mrs. Blobby to be Parents of the Year, especially when the character select screen shows domestic violence. To choose your character, you absolutely body either of the other ones. I mean body them. This is a toxic situation right here. The interior design in here reminds me of a time in school when we got to dissect a sheep's esophagus. Jesus, what is that? It looks like a moose that's been flayed alive. This is dark already. Mr. Blobby beats up his wife and kid and skins animals and sticks them on the wall all bloody and infected, and then stuck eyebrows on it. You know, just to really hammer it home. Wait, who's that peering in at the window? Oh shit, I recognise that son. No, you get away from me. Oh, it's friggin' that son from the Tech Toy Multicart I reviewed a while ago. He's in this game. You know, the one who looked like he was delightfully parting a pair of legs. Friggin' Sonny Lingus here. Look at him peeking through the curtains like an utter pervert. He's set his sights on Mrs. Blobby there, I can tell you. Probably wondering if the spotty curtains match the drapes. Oh god. Delete my number. No, I got 3rd-degree burns. Now leave me alone, seriously. Never give your number on a first date. Now, none of these characters actually have different abilities or anything that might be cool like that. This is essentially the Blobby version of the Nintendo 64 Yoshi Select screen, while each character represents one life. So let's start with Mr. Blobby. What a delightfully uninspired level. Lovely. Oh, by the way, the plotline is Mr. Blobby's home is being taken over by grey fog, and he's about to deal with all of that. The world around him is all grey, apart from the background, which looks like a GIF file that forgot it's a Windows 95 screensaver, and some misplaced looking enemies. You'll notice that Mr. Blobby does not seem to suit the style of the world at all, but to be fair, later on the levels get a bit less obviously pulled from another game. So Blobby can attack by chucking custard pies. Once he's custarded an enemy, he can run into it and get points, not unlike putting enemies into bubbles in Bubble Bobble. Also, not unlike Bubble Bobble, there's snacks around that he can pick up for points, and he can pick them up and pelt them at enemies, at which point both items will explode aggressively. To complete the level, he needs to colour all the grey parts of the level by walking on them. This counts for the ladders too, which will turn into blobby skin when you complete the shape. The enemies really don't look like they're from the same place as Mr. Blobby. I was expecting them to maybe have blobby skin like that thing that he stuck on the wall. Instead, we've got walking mushrooms, whatever the shit this is, water droplets, and this shard of ice. I keep getting levelled by enemies because of how difficult to control Blobby is. That's the biggest problem. Because he's so slippy, the only two speeds you can go are slow as bobbins or fast as all shit. There's no in between. Oh, hold the fuck up! Blobby's got a gun! Wow, so far I'm incredibly underwhelmed by this game, but now you're telling me that Mr. Blobby can pick up and use a gun? That delights me a lot and scares me. actually. Blobby, motherfucker. Blobby's packing and he's about to shoot shit up, popping an entire cap in your rear end. What's this guy doing? What? I like this circus level. There's these clowns knocking around looking like they just want to be put out of their misery, and presumably when they are, their decapitated heads become part of the scenery. That's nice, isn't it? What is going on with these massive feet? I'm really scared. Why are they massive feet? Who do they belong to? What have they got to do with this kind of circus theme that this level has? Oh wait, at the start of the level there's a clown's head and I think his hands. Oh okay, so this level is just a dismembered clown, yeah. That's horrifying. That's incredibly horrifying, yeah. I have to admit it is cute how the collectibles change depending on the theme of the level. And I do like the little food items that you can pick up and eat or just lob at other characters. From an artistic standpoint, it is cute. I even think that the Blobby family have been drawn quite adorably here, so let's be fair. I don't know what else to say really. It's an unremarkable game that's functional for the most part, and the whole clearing up the greyness part is mindless but at least mildly satisfying. As a kid's game, as a very young kid's game, you know, it's fine. But here's a part where the developer's laziness is absolutely unreal. You know how Mr. Blobby doesn't say anything other than his name through a voice digitizer on the TV? Let's listen to that again.
Yeah. Oh, Blobby,
gets it.
Blobby sheep. Blobby sheep.
I am convinced that that will be the first sound I hear when I finally enter the gates of hell.
Mr. Blobby, please, not my prized brimstone collection. Hello, yes, God. Look, I'll swap Mr. Blobby for Margaret Thatcher. Oh, I already have Margaret Thatcher. Give me whoever you want, just please take him.
A huge part of the character's identity is the voice. The game needs to have his ridiculous vocoder self-affirmations, but this is what we get instead. Yeah, cute little sounds. Even if he didn't have such a distinctive voice, that is not the right voice for a large, pink, boggly-eyed man. It makes a lot more sense when you play as the baby, but I think even on his very few appearances, his vocabulary wasn't any more complex than his father's. Again, how did these guys reproduce? And if they did, that means they have genitals, which means the pair of them are knocking about naked with their bits out. Does his penis have spots too? How does he tell if he's got a venereal disease or not? Must be a nightmare. So the voice is just part of the original game that was reskinned to make this title, a game called Super Troll Islands, released for the SNES in 1994. I have played that too, and here's the thing, it's also unremarkable. It's the same game, it's just as weird, and the main difference is you're playing as a troll with a constantly bopping head. You know, these things, these trolls. He's probably so happy because he's got his cock out, to be fair. In the original version, instead of the blobby wallpaper, when you finish a segment you get a window into a background scene, which would be nice if anything fun was happening there. I kind of wanted to see a murder victim being dragged into the forest or something. Look how depressed these trees are. This is like a child's cartoon about the dying rainforest. It really annoys me how when the troll climbs ladders he spins his stupid head right round like the kid from The Exorcist just so he can keep looking you dead in the eye. He also makes obnoxious kid noises, which already makes the Blobby version much better for not having that bullshit. The Blobby version just has the sort of sounds. Oh god, the creepy sun is in this version! Oh look at that bouncy, smarmy bastard! Go away, you freak! We had one date, that was more than enough. Oh god. All in all, neither game are especially worth it. Although Super Troll Island got fair to good reviews, it's not the kind of game you'll remember much about afterwards. All I can remember is the bouncing head of the troll and Sunny Lingus, to be honest. For the Mr. Blobby version, I'm disappointed that there's not more Blobby. I hate I'm saying that, but But the laziness on show here has pissed me off. It needs to be more Mr. Blobbiness to be a proper Mr. Blobby game. I really hate Mr. Blobby, and this game has got me asking for more Mr. Blobby. As it stands, it's just a kind of odd game, but most of that oddness came from the game it was originally, so...
The levels being so weird is just strange when it's a Mr. Blobby game. Like, Mr. Blobby is weird, but it's not giant foot sticking out of the floor weird. It's only barely trolls weird. It's only a bit more acceptable because you're playing as some lad who's literally got his arse out. Seriously, put some clothes on, it's creepy.
Thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe and all of that nonsense. It really helps me out a lot. I will see you on the next... Alright, one more date.